Hi, I'm Grant. Welcome to Digression Bar 35. Been a long time since I said that. Joined by
Andrew.
Andrew. What is up?
It is windy and cool, but the snow is gone.
Mm-hmm. Now it's just super rainy and everything's flooding.
Yeah.
So that's what...
And the potholes.
The potholes are bad. The potholes on my drive home under like Dodge Street are terrible.
I used to take Pacific to go to campus because PKI is like just south of Pacific, and Pacific generally has less traffic than Dodge. I don't go there anymore though, because the potholes are just bad and they're just closing lanes, and it's just it's. I drove my brother to the airport yesterday, and that was an adventure. Like there are times where I was seeing like people driving the wrong lanes to avoid potholes like this wide, and in one direction, and then this wide in the other direction. So it's like,
damn,
I'm just gonna like go in the other lane for this one and come back.
See, I have a nice like little cheat road on my commute where it's like it's not as fast, but no one takes it, and that one's fine. So like that's how I'm getting by. So I luckily have that, and I don't actually drive that far, so I'm okay. I'm okay.
Dodge is actually not terrible. Like I rough the traffic for Dodge just because it's not killing my car. But yeah.
Okay. So I guess I can say one thing that's up with me is I went through a important milestone on my cooking show. I cut myself on camera, so that was fun. It's not that bad right now. It's like that right there.
Oh,
I can demonstrate this.
Okay.
I was peeling a mango with a Y peeler, and I was just going like, it was like I cut myself, and it bled a lot.
yeah.
And it was just like annoying because
when you say you cut yourself, I imagine you shaved.
yeah,
Like you're
like boop.
So it wasn't as much of a cut as just a shave.
Yeah, and that was
so it's not
yeah.
a deep cut per se, but it's a skewer of your skin. So then you just got a wide area of exposed
Yes,
blood vessels.
which totally happens the same thing when I like shave my head, and if I cut myself, it's just like there's I think the first time I did it and I cut myself, it's like I might not be able to go to work because my head's just bleeding. I can't just sit in my car and bleed. So do I just have to be like late for work? Do I have to work from home because of this reason? Because it's a dumb reason to say. Like I can't come to work. I cut myself shaving.
Well, can you just put a Band-Aid on it?
I can try, but it's always like the same spot in the back of my head.
And you can't
And
see
it's
it.
like I'm putting it on while I'm bleeding, and it's just like, and then I gotta clean, and just like, I think that's what I ended up doing, but it was fine. But this bled a lot, and we couldn't continue the show because I was fine as long as I held it, but like I had to hold it because it like wouldn't stop otherwise. I definitely couldn't continue. But I ended up going to see if I needed like stitches or anything, and they ended up just like gluing it.
Yeah,
But I felt bad when I got there because they just like soaked it and just looked like basically the cut where it's like as big as possible to the point where it's only annoying. Like any bigger it'd be an issue, but like as it was, it just whatever. But at the time when like my entire hand's covered in blood, it like didn't feel that way.
You're right.
You know, and I got here and just like that's it. And like it's like I don't know, a quarter of an inch wide, and that's it. But at the time, it was definitely concerning. I'd like call Jamie like, "Hey Jamie, cutting myself. Can you come get me?" It's fine. It happened 40 minutes ago. I'm not dying. Yeah, I'm not dying. But at the same time, I can't drive. So that was a thing. But I like the fact that it was that because I was for sure. I'm so paranoid. I'm gonna like cut myself like that with my hand or something. So I'm glad the first milestone was something fairly simple because I felt like it was inevitable.
Yeah,
that you're like you got to on the show. I actually have that footage. I haven't watched it yet, but I have it because it got dumped to my little portable hard drive over there. So I bet I have me getting cut if you really want to see it. I have the mango. No, I threw away the mango. I had the actual mango as well. I was like, I don't feel comfortable with this thing. It betrayed me.
bad mango.
Yeah, it doesn't deserve to be in my salsa. So
I don't know, man. Like even my time in the kitchen, I don't know if I ever cut myself with a knife. It was always other utensils in the utensil box.
The utensil box was dumb. It was literally like a busboy crate, you know, where they where they just take it to
Except a big
table,
one.
put it together, and and it's just all the random utensils and they just throw it in there.
Well, what would normally like some of this like the big spatulas that they would use on the grill. You know, we were like I don't know, kind of like shave them together and hand like, and
Yeah, because you'd have like you'd scoop like one spatula to get up to pick up like an omelet, and then you take the other one, and you like shing to like scrape it off, and you would just keep doing that all day.
But so sometimes that means they would like shave a metal jag off it,
Oh,
so it'd be like a little like triangle blade that just like slightly is off, and you're going and you grab it and you hit them and like, ow.
Yeah, I was always paranoid about that because it was even when it was like something fairly innocuous, it's still like a pain to get something out of the bottom of that. Like it's just it was like if you took like the worst junk drawer in your kitchen, not a drunk door. That's a different thing, I'm sure. If you have one of those in your kitchen, that's concerning. This is my drunk
or door. It's very entertaining.
Yeah, just like double the size of your junk drawer and then have like 6 of them. And that's what like the back end of that kitchen was with like the utensils. But I also feel like I don't know what else you could do because they have so many random utensils, particularly for like catering. So it's just like, here's 100 forks. And they kind of, you could like sort those. But then it's like, here's, I don't know, 10 tongs mixed in with a bunch of spatulas, a bunch of rubber spatulas. Here's just a bucket.
And the spoons. All the big spoons.
Yeah. And just like, you kind of just have, like, there's no easy way to sort all those out. Some big custom solution. So I get it.
I mean, every once in a while, sometimes things would get in there that shouldn't be in there. Like apple slicers.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's another cutting hazard right there. It was a hazard.
I feel like we've talked about working at Hy-Vee, which I enjoyed. It was a good job. But I remember like my biggest thing working in the kitchen was like, I just wish like, boss, like, can you just have like someone come in like 9 p.m. on a Sunday and just organize it? Pay them double. Just be like, organize it. Because if we could just do that once, everything would be so much easier. Because I feel like all the time, like, where's the syrup? Like, where is it? I don't know. Where's it? Oh, it's in bakery. Why is the maple syrup over in a bakery? Like, I don't know. They had nowhere else to put it, I guess, at the time. It was like full of something like that.
Yeah, and like every time I'd come back from either break or whatever, I'd get there and I'm like, I don't know where shit is.
Every time. Because everyone liked it in their own area. And
yeah.
Like, the only people who had any say were the full-time people because they were there all the time. And so it's just like as a part-timer, you just had to show up and be like, just got to make do. Sometimes you could like hide something so you could find it again, but not always.
Yeah.
Not always. Fortunately. Good times otherwise, though. Like, it was definitely better than working as a cashier, I have to say. You know, you could kind of like hide away from customers and just work on whatever small task. Like,
you're not supposed to hide away from the customers, though. You get in trouble.
Well, I mean, like, I would go do like Yahoo, you know? You have like people and you just be like, I can just do this for an hour.
I hate Yahoo.
I liked it. Yeah, just to clarify, Yahoo was like, it wasn't, was it for Yahoo or was paid for by Yahoo for another company? Wasn't it?
Yahoo was associated some way.
Yeah, some way. The company Yahoo, which is still a company, I guess, at this point.
Yeah.
But no, they had some massive catering order that they would like stock their fridges with. So it's like, we need 30 cups of assorted fruits. And you just have to sit and chop them all.
Sliced apples.
Yeah.
Pineapple. Strawberries. Blueberries. Veggies. Broccoli. Cauliflower. It was...
Yeah. And you had to like start at like 9 a.m. more or less. And you couldn't leave at night until it's done. And obviously that's like 2 shifts. But I remember it's like, you think, oh, like that's plenty of time, but you had to just find time throughout the day. So it was a busy day, right? It was like 9 p.m. It's like, I want to go home, but I got to chop freaking pineapples. Or I was always like, why do we have only pineapples? Now I'm going to be like the dick who only puts pineapples in these cups when they want blueberries, but we don't have any blueberries.
Yeah. I don't know, man. And it just, and I heard like, we're busy doing stuff like trying to get Yahoo and stuff done. It's like, I was told that like, we basically just break even when we did that. I'm like, then why are we doing it? If you're breaking, you don't perform services to break even.
See, I disagree with that. I feel like breaking even is potentially fine because I feel like that's, how to put this? Like, it's good for your employees, you know, like if they said, we can hire you because we need people to do Yahoo, but we're going to break even, but it lets us hire another employee. That's like a good thing overall. It may not be great for the company because it's by definition, they're indifferent to it. But I feel like being able to like,
but who You're saying if they break even, who they're hiring who?
So like say if they took on extra work that would make that they
Who's
would
they?
the
Clarify.
company.
Which
A
company? Okay.
ID.
Okay. So
Yes.
So
So,
they-
like they took orders that, let's say, I don't know their paradigm or whatever. They took on orders that they'd break even on if they hired more people to do those orders. So then, like for those people, that's a good thing.
for the people they hired,
Yes.
but they wouldn't be breaking even then.
No. Well, they might have to hire one person to accomplish the thing that they agreed to, and that's why they break even and don't make a profit. So, like, I understand your point. If it was just like we have 8 people, now we have 8 people, and we are also still breaking even, why do it? But I feel like it's a good thing, somewhat.
No, because you're saying, oh, you hire someone else to do that system, right? But then what happened? But you have to think about, well, you're breaking even in regards to that time for that worker. So if the worker was only there for that and only contributed to that, and you only paid them for that, that'd be okay. You're breaking even. But if not, it's like, oh, we're hiring this person to do this, but they don't really do anything else. Then that's a drain. Or if you're talking about, okay, we're breaking even on like this thing, you are spending. It's worse than just breaking even, because if you are breaking even on this one thing, that means you're not doing something else that could give you something.
It's like opportunity cost.
It is opportunity.
I can see that.
It's direct, like nothing's free, right? Like there's no such thing as a free lunch, because even if you're getting it for no money, you could be doing something else, and that's the whole point. So if you're breaking even, you're not getting anything out of it.
I guess I don't know. I don't run a grocery store, so maybe I shouldn't be commenting.
Well,
I have no experience in it.
Well, it's just economics like 101. It's like why would you perform a service that you get exactly out what you put in? Because, like, for instance, you pay me $5 to go perform a task, and it costs $5 to do the task. Well, that's worse than not doing anything, because if you're not doing anything, you could be theoretically doing anything.
But then you get a sense of pride and accomplishment.
Well, if it's
Throwback.
if you're talking about like, oh, I'm doing this for fun, I just want you to pay for the cost of me doing it. That's one thing. But I'm saying if you're providing a service and you're doing it because you're good at it, not necessarily because you're doing it for fun, it's like, well, if I'm breaking even, then what's the point? I could be doing something else for myself. Or I could be doing something, because you can't. If you're doing something at breaking even, you're not making any profit at all. You can't buy anything later. So like, if your job was breaking even, you would have no money.
What if my job is Breaking Bad? Do I have money then?
Yes.
Have you watched Breaking Bad?
Not the show. Well, I mean, like I haven't.
I've only watched the anime or the animated one. I don't
No,
know.
I mean, like
live
I
action
haven't watched the series. I've seen episodes. If that makes sense.
Yes. That makes sense. I forgot what tangent we're going for. Cooking stuff.
Yes, that's where we started.
So I was going to go, ideally this was going to be my 4th episode. 5th, or something. I shot 2 of them last night.
Okay.
Not last night, Monday. So then this was the one I was going to be like, now I'm going to go put them out on like a channel and something.
That's the one you cut yourself with.
Yes. And now it's like, well, I want to finish that one. So I'll push that off. But I need to sit down and just be like, here's the channel with all the cooking show stuff on it. I think it's already airing on TV, though. I don't think he actually told me that. But I think he like, oh yeah, it aired last Monday. I think he said that. So not that I have that channel. I don't have cable, but it's going. It's a thing now, I guess.
Okay.
So I'm waiting for the hate mail to come in.
Hey, man.
No.
Doing it wrong.
I will say, in my experience from doing stuff like a podcast or just like random YouTube videos, putting up a random video of like, I don't know what I'm doing. Here's a thing. Man, like, let me frame this. I feel like there's a lot of things that be like, I want to learn how to do X. I don't know how to do X. No one seems to know how to do X. I will force myself the long way to learn how to do X, put out video. All of a sudden in the comments section, everyone who knows how to do X, which, why are you searching this video if you know how to do X? Where were you before? And I hate you. And that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting...
Go fuck yourself.
Or just like, I'm sure, my big fear with cooking, and then one reason I want to avoid certain items is like, I feel like most people have the thing that they're super into. Like, I would never want to make like, I kind of don't want to make like a basic steak, fried chicken, Chinese. I don't. I'm sure there's other things, like, but things where like one person would have like a very deep knowledge of. Like there's people who are like really into cooking a steak, and there's the whole depth of stuff. Where if I did it, it'd be kind of like a more of a jack of all trades. Like I'm trying something thing. Same with like I can make like fried chicken, but like I can't tell you anything special. It'd just be me frying a chicken. But there's like a whole science to that. Even like Hy-Vee, there's like they had like you put them in this and you cook these this amount and these this amount and these this amount and you like spice with this, and it's like I just push the buttons. I don't understand it. So like I feel like, or like same with like I would love to learn to make like a Chinese dish or something, but I feel like I don't even know. My rice is mediocre as is, and that's like the easiest thing to make in a Chinese dish. And I just feel like if I did that, there'd be like that one person's like, I make this every night. I was classically trained by a French chef. And just like I don't know, man.
Well, the problem is you start trying to make ethnic dishes, you're gonna get, accused of cultural appropriation, and that's a whole nother problem.
Well, mine are gonna be so bad they can't accuse me of it because clearly I don't know what I'm doing. But I do feel like I would want to avoid those for that reason. So I do still get stuff all the time on videos that are just like, here's a tutorial, and people are just like, that's not how you do that. It's like, where were you a year ago when I was looking for the answer?
Yeah, it's like I was asking and no one was coming, and then I thought I learned it, and now you're giving me a hard time. Fuck off.
Coding's particularly bad about that, where we like look for an answer, can't find it, implement it. Random dude in class is like, clearly you just do this. I'm like, I don't want to talk to you right now, dude.
Well, isn't that just kind of the whole thing about with Stack Overflow, where it's just like, oh, you're asking a problem, they want you to go find like the source of it. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, this has already been explained, so go find that one. But if you make something that's wrong, it's like, we can't have that. It's got it. They have the official one, and you're not it. Mm-hmm. GTFO.
And I feel like we've ranted enough about Stack Overflow, but so the Stack Overflow's goal is to make a very searchable database. That's why they have that stance.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it is very searchable.
Uh-huh.
That's why it's a important asset if you program. It's just not one I value as a user at all.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I mentioned this. I actually had someone reply to a Stack Overflow question I had from like 2010, and they gave me the answer. I'm like, thanks. I was like a sophomore in high school or something, and I don't care about how to do this in SQL database 2008 anymore. But it wasn't for me, really, was it?
No.
But I almost wanted to reply like, oh, cool, thanks, dude. I've been waiting on this. So I love it. When I got that email in my inbox, I was like, someone answered your question on Stack Overflow from 2010. I'm like, what? Is this reality right now? I have never gotten that email before, much less the one from far away. No one has ever answered a question I ever post on Stack Overflow. So usually I get your question has been removed or marked as duplicate. That's the one I'm more familiar with.
You mean the ones you only get?
Yeah, the ones that are like, bad question, go away. So that's a whole tangent. Otherwise, we can talk about my phone decided to just off itself randomly.
Yes, let's talk about that.
I have a Galaxy S7, which is an Android.
Had or do?
I do. I still have it. I fixed it.
It's the same one. Okay.
Yes, same one. And I had an update. I guess I don't know if I have this right. It was trying to update itself to a new version of Android. I think it's called Nougat. Nougat. And it had to update the firmware, which is like the base software.
Yeah.
And it messed up. I don't know why it messed up, if it was just like an issue something else had or whatever. But it messed up and it failed. I'm like, okay, that's weird. And I kept getting like updates like, you should update. It's like, well, they keep failing. Oh, well, whatever. It's like, I'll factory reset my phone and then maybe that'll put it back. And I did that and it was fine. And then I realized one of the source issues was that it deleted the base Android setting application. So I could not set any settings on the phone. And I don't mean like, oh, can I add a different ringtone? I'm talking like I could not add any new Wi-Fi networks because it would crash because that app doesn't exist anymore. I couldn't update the brightness because that app doesn't exist anymore. And I couldn't, I think, install anything or uninstall anything. So it still worked up until I factory reset it because I deleted all my settings and I could no longer reset. And I was just like, well, so this is a problem I have now.
So how do you remedy it?
I had to reflash the firmware, which is basically go find someone who is either paranoid and saved their firmware from when they bought the phone, or someone who like works at a Samsung or whatever service center and they just have a copy of it for their like internal use. And basically I had to completely wipe out the old stuff and re-burn it.
How?
I guess Samsung has a tool.
So you
that.
brought it to...
No, I did here. They have a tool, and that tool. I get the impression that Samsung's like, don't use this, but they don't really care.
Okay.
But they had a tool, so it was just finding the right operating system.
Who's they?
Who?
Like, it's not a physical item.
No, it's a software.
Okay.
And I just plug it in with to my PC.
Okay.
Which already, like, one of the biggest issues was like every other fix was like turn on developer tools. It's like, can't do that because I don't have settings. And it was like the hardest thing to explain to like anyone. It's like, don't have settings. There's nothing I can check.
Yeah.
So, but in a way, it's stressful because in doing that, you have basically like a chance of just bricking your phone because it's basically like the software that's like one layer above your like BIOS.
It's kind of like what Anthem did to some PlayStations.
Yeah. So yeah, it would break it where it's like it might turn on, but it's not working. And I was like, oh well, let's just try this. And it took like a day until I finally found the right setup to get it to work. And even then, I'm pretty sure I installed the European version of my Galaxy software because everything's like slightly different and the wording's like English in some cases.
How do they spell color?
I think I'll have to look. It's not consistent all the way through, but there's definitely some applications where I don't think that's wrong. Like I think I saw theater as with the TRE, for example, somewhere in there on some application. Like, is it just because I'm not used to this application because I never go in it?
You can spell theater TRE.
You can spell it like Thea TER or Thea TRE. Yes.
That's dumb. That's dumb.
Well, no, like a movie theater, I think it was TER, whereas theater's like the royal we of theater. Like you're going to theater as in a genre of entertainment.
Theater.
Yeah. But yeah, you can spell it that way.
It doesn't make any sense though. Why would you pronounce it? It's
like
I don't understand why L like the L can be EL or LE. It for some reason like I think it should just be EL.
What
all
L?
the way?
What L are you talking about?
Like fuck. What?
I have no idea where you're going with this.
I gotta.
You start screaming out a letter. The L.
Fuck. No.
There's no L.
Fuck off. What's a good word?
Anything in Spanish?
No.
L.
No, like in the end of a word. Like sipple, for instance.
Okay.
Could be it's EL or LE.
I see what.
But that's not just for that name though. I know it's.
I think that just comes from mispronunciation because you could say something like, "What is another word that works like that?" Repel. But you could also say like ripple. Like those are very close. I could see someone just like with an accent, like changing the subtlety of that, like pull to pel. That's where I think that comes from. And I think that's just like how a lot of stuff ends up like that. Or it was just like, that's how you spell theater in Spanish or something. And they pronounce it way differently, but the spelling came over or something. But
how do you spell repel?
Which one? REPEL?
REPEL?
EL, yes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm. But then there's also like ripple, which is like very similar, which is PL. So, okay, I see. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Let's get some more into... Jamie should be here if we're going to do linguistics.
No,
whatever.
I'm not.
Let's get back into that.
Okay.
You thought we were going to joke around and swear, but no, we're going to talk about language on this podcast. So, but anyway, it's been very frustrating because I just had this debate where it's like, I don't want to pay for a new phone, but when I'm sitting here at like freaking 1 a.m. trying to flash this thing, and it's just like, I could just go to Amazon right now and be done with this problem. Or the next one might work.
You get your phones off of Amazon?
Well, I don't know. An example. I would actually probably go to Samsung or something.
Or do you have Verizon?
No. I have AT&T.
Okay.
But my phone's unlocked. I can put on whatever.
Are there AT&T stores?
I don't know.
Like Verizon has?
I think officially I'm on Cricket, but it's through AT&T.
I forgot. What's the thing?
Well, they're owned by. It's basically AT&T. Like they're still technically a thing, but like I don't. It's AT&T.
Huh.
But I don't know where. Well, honestly, if I had to, I would go buy one in person because I should clarify. I have to have my phone to work from home because it's my authenticator, and I have to work. So, like for example, I'm on call next weekend, I think, which means I have to take calls from home. So it's like I had a hard deadline.
When you say next weekend, you mean not Saturday, Sunday, but the following Saturday.
Yeah,
Sunday.
a week from Friday.
See,
Yeah.
We're getting back to the whole we're talking about later.
Yes.
When we say this versus next, and how, even though I understand next is supposed to be the next following, when people use this and next, it's like, well, I imagine this would be the most immediate one coming, and the next one is the one after that, the one next to this one.
And you should clarify. So you're saying if today is Tuesday and we're
Yes.
doing something tomorrow, it is what Wednesday?
I would say it would be this Wednesday.
That's what I would say.
Or tomorrow. But
Yes.
other people say when they say next whatever, they mean literally the next instance. The very coming instance.
I think the right way is this and then next, and then you have the other set of people who just don't know what they're talking about and don't care. And they're just
Yeah.
like, oh, the next one. I think that's how it is. I don't think there's anyone that's very strongly the other way.
No, my brother is very strongly the other way.
Oh, well, then I should say we're playing D&D next week. And he's tested. Does he want to come to the game or does he got to stick to his guns?
That is a very good question.
Just every time he's like, so it's tomorrow? No, what? It's next Friday. Told you, next Friday.
Well, it would be Saturday, but
Oh, yeah, Saturday.
yeah.
But just like stress that and be like, what are you going to choose?
My brother can be very opinionated on things.
I could see that. But I guess to wrap up the phone story, I had to get it done because also it was snowing a lot last week. And I deleted
It snowed this week?
last week,
Yes.
like heavily. And since I factory reset my phone, I couldn't log into work and I had no one to call at work. So it's like if I got like just stuck, I would just have to like no call, no show.
When you say
Or-
stuck, you mean like you get snowed in or
Yeah.
whatever.
Like terribly or something. But no, it ends up not being that bad. But I definitely remember when I went to bed, it's like, no matter how much snow there is, I have to go to work tomorrow. Yeah. But I mean, that's most people. But it's just like, versus normally if it's like, if it was like 10 inches of snow, I could just be like, I'm just going to work from home. I'll probably get more done. So that was a whole thing for like 2 weeks where my phone just decided like, I am going to die. And that was just my life. And I would have been fine if I didn't factory reset it because like, oh, I'm still going to update. But there's still like also like issues with it. Like I still get all the errors telling me to update that I can't update. But I'm not trusting it this time.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. I swear it's going to re-delete my operating system, basically.
But you know how to fix it again.
I do. But also here's another thing is
Oh no.
it's like the base hardware I downloaded. So it's also like a 2017 version.
Firmware?
Yes, firmware. Yes. No, I downloaded new hardware.
That's
I
interesting.
had to like re-put it together. With
You
all
wouldn't
the
download
bits.
a car, would you?
No. I don't have the bandwidth. That would work really well if the joke was like you wouldn't download a guitar because then it's like no, I don't have the bandwidth because then you have like that little joke of a band. I don't know. So that's been my troubles. I don't know what else I say other than what I've been playing a bunch and coding. It's been a busy week.
Yeah. Oh god.
You have didn't you have finals this week or something?
No, I admit a midterm.
Midterm. Okay, I've like lost all bases of that.
That's
after
fine.
College. So.
Yeah, no, I understand.
But you're on spring break now?
Yes.
Nice.
This week. Well, so technically it would start tomorrow.
But you don't have class
I
or
don't
something?
have class.
Okay. You're one of those people who get like, there's always people who are like, I had all my finals on like Monday and Tuesday and they just get to leave super early. It's just like, ah.
I've had that too.
I mean, it kind of sucks though.
Yeah, because you have them all on the same day. It's like,
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like once you're over that hump, it's just like, yes, I just get to go home. Versus like, I remember I had at least one semester where it was like the opposite and I'm just like hanging out in the house, just like, there's no one here. But my first final's not until Thursday. And then you still have all the pain of them being on the same day or like 2 days, but you're just waiting for it to come. It's kind of like, kind of studied all I can study. Like, I'll keep going over it, but I'm not going to relearn everything in the class or something at that point. It's like, that's kind of,
I feel like sometimes it's just like the anxiety of waiting.
Yes. Yes. Especially because I was like with all the poli-sci majors that don't have particularly hard finals. So I'm like waiting for my circuits 3 course with all this math and my calculus final.
That was your fraternity, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had a lot of poli-sci majors, and they're like,
What is
political science.
Oh,
I remember like, what was it, sophomore year, like junior year, where someone was like literally coming in. It's like, I have to read a whole book this week, and that's like my only homework, and it sucks. I'm like, I hate you so much. It was like this big. It was like just a little pamphlet or something. It was like it might have been The Prince, like Machiavelli or something. Yeah, we were supposed to read. He was supposed to read. I'm like, is that really that bad? Like, do you have other assignments? I don't think so. It's just like, I just come home and I just do math. That's what I would do. I just do math. So, but yeah,
I can sympathize.
what else is up with you? What are you doing outside of school besides podcasting? Finally,
Until recently, dealing with the snow has been a fucking bitch.
I can see that.
And our snowblower broke. I remember. Did I talk to you like last week maybe about this?
I think you might have talked to the D&D group. You're
Okay.
talking about having 2 driveways, I think.
Yes, and it broke because it ate a little bit of some asphalt pothole resealing, and it killed it.
Ouch.
And it was fucking heavy snow, and it was a pain. I don't care what Cole says. He's a fucking bitch.
I just picture like you coming out of your garage, like gonna get this thing, and you're like, click, and it's like, oh, you're like 5 feet in your driveway, it dies or something.
Well, actually, I was more like I did a couple things through the first driveway, and then I went to the bottom, and I snow blow up the street and a little down the street because first off, it gets the snow away from your driveway, but also if you go up the street more, when the snowplows come, they don't have as much snow to like plow over in front of your driveway. And then when it freezes, it's not a pain in the ass anymore because it's not a wall. It's more like just like a little nub.
Mm-hmm.
But couldn't do that this time. So that was fun getting rid of.
Yeah. That's one thing I love about being in an apartment is did not have to deal with that at all. They like come plow this with their own like dudes at I think 4 a.m. And then I walk down from my 3rd floor apartment and I just go.
And then after that, like still it was, and like in front of the mailbox and stuff, it was shitty. There was just like, it was a lot of ice and it was like fucking hard. So over like a few days I would just like go out there and just chip at it for like 20 minutes, go in the house. Mm-hmm. I get home from class. I'm like, I'm going to fucking work on this a little bit. I do that. And it's using this big heavy metal rod, essentially with a blade at the end. And it's like, God, I fucking hate this. It's fucking heavy and it's just fatiguing. I go and I'm like, I'm going to get this done maybe in 6 days.
Ouch. I feel like there's got to be a better system. I don't know what it would be, but part of me, it'd be cool if there was a way that was just like to automate snow removal somehow. I don't know what it would be.
Well, the problem is when you have automation is when something fucks up, it fucks up.
Well, I'm not
hard.
saying it's like necessarily like you have like a Roomba, but it'd be kind of cool if it was just like you just have, I don't know, some kind of tile-based driveway. And then you just go around and you just like chip the ice around the tiles and you're just like tile up, put down, tile up. And now then something like that where it's just like taking all of it and you just like go over there. So you're not have to like scrape it or you can just be like, I need to go now. You just go up, flip all the tiles where you would drive or something. So it's like, here's something that's dry.
No, I don't for that. Probably would not work.
I don't know. I'm not theorizing that that's the best solution. I feel like there should be some solution. That's just like I don't know what.
Because first off, you have to find the tiles, right? Because if it's covered in snow, you can't see them. So you still have to clear it enough so you can find the tile. But then you already cleared like half of it off of that tile.
I'm thinking, how about lasers?
I would do laser beams.
That's
But also, the thing is, snow is very reflective.
I had that thought actually where
In fact, that's why a lot of this good practice for snow removal is actually putting like dark colored particles over it, like kitty litter or some other stuff, or even just in the de-icing solutions they have out there. It's like sometimes it's just like dust and dirt, because if it's dark, it absorbs a lot more sunlight, and snow is very good at reflecting sunlight. So if you have those particles that can absorb it and heat up, and that helps melt the snow.
See, how about this? Like, you just have a little device. All it does, you put it in your window, and then you just calculate calibrate it. And it's a little tiny high power laser that just goes back and forth. It's gonna take forever, but you just turn on like 2 a.m. and just like.
Or why not just do the thing you do in like the back of your windows, your back windows, with the wiring.
Flip them off. What?
No,
yeah.
The wiring in the back window.
Well, you can have a heated driveway. That's a thing. But I feel like that must take a lot of power.
It probably takes a lot of power. Also, probably significantly weakens the integrity of the concrete. Because for it to heat up like that, you're going to have to either have a lot of holes, or you're going to have anything that you would have heating elements in there would be essentially voids in the concrete that's not contributing to like compressive resistance.
I feel like there's got to be a way though, because also you don't need like the whole driveway. You just really need like 2 tracks that you can drive on.
But when you have a lot of snow and it becomes a pile, then let's say, for instance, you do have like these 2 tracks, right? But when the snow pile starts piling up and it gets higher and higher and higher, eventually it's just going to close in on itself, and then you're just going to have like, sure, a couple, like those 2 tire marks are technically cleared, but you still have snow over it.
Yeah.
And also, if the snow
true,
if the snow goes higher than the base of your, like the bottom of your vehicle, then even if the track, like your 2 wheel marks are clear, you still are pushing snow out the back. You're essentially a snowplow, except your car is.
I feel like that's not that bad though, because if you get to that point, you're kind of screwed anyway. But if it's just like there's 4 inches of snow, and you gotta scoop, but I just want it away. Or like my thing is like I don't necessarily need a device that's like get rid of it now. I just want something that like melts it faster over the course of the day, kind of thing. So it's
what's it like the driveway?
Snow. Melts the snow faster over the course.
Oh, over what though? Like what? Where's your target?
As much
area?
as possible in the driveway.
Driveway. Okay, I come in like what area? Like, are we talking about the street?
We've been talking about the driveway the whole time.
Well, you were just talking about your window, just like a minute ago.
You were talking about the window. You're talking about the wires in the back of the window.
You said you wanted a laser on your window that'd go back and forth slowly.
At my driveway. I'm not melting the snow on the window. I'm not melting the window. I'm melting the driveway. That was a topic of conversation.
I thought you totally said window. You said on your window.
Hanging like in my window, so I don't need to leave my house.
Hanging in your window.
Yes.
Like your what?
The window of my house pointed at my driveway. It's a little laser that goes like do 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 do.
Why would it have to be in your window?
Where do you want it? It can be there. It can be anywhere you want. You're looking at the window.
No, I'm just like thinking like on the wall. Like if it did turret, I mean, obviously you're not like.
Well, because I was thinking I could just set it up inside my house, whereas like that'd have to be a whole like custom mounted thing.
But what if you don't have a window covering that area? Like you couldn't place it there. Plus, if you're firing a laser through a window, you're diffracting the beam a little bit, and then it's going to be not as effective. Mm-hmm. And again, you're reflecting a lot of that thermal energy, so you're like doing shit.
I don't know. I didn't build it. This is the theoretical future where we have lasers to beat our driveway. It seems like there should be, if you were rich, there should be a solution. But really, it doesn't seem like there is. I guess there's a snowblower. I don't know how good a snowblower is.
Snowblowers work a lot better.
Yeah.
But here's the thing also, is like, the problem isn't like, oh, is there something you could do that would be great in the situation? It's like, well, yes, you could do a lot of things that would be great in one situation. But the problem is when you throw in any other situation, it fails entirely. And that's the problem. Like you said, like, oh, you can make it so that, like, for instance, concrete is really hard, right? Like, it has
I
great
don't believe
compress, well, I mean, like, really, like, high cement concentrations in your concrete, but it becomes more brittle when you do it that way. And that's bad. You want it to be hard, not brittle.
I have the
I mean,
same
it's
stance.
it's already brittle, like, but like really, like any like very minor, and you get large cracks.
That's how all my tests are in my code: hard and very brittle.
Or like
someone out there gets that joke.
Or you're talking about like air entrapment admixtures in your concrete. It's like, well, technically you're adding something in there that's not adding to the strength, but when you have freeze thaw, one of the big things is you don't want to have voids where water can get into, because when they freeze, it expands and eats at your, essentially just tears apart your concrete. So that's why you need air entrapment, because the water will not occupy the holes that the air is.
Mm-hmm.
So again, like you can, there are a lot of, when you build things, something
Like
you
me
figure
personally,
out,
I build things.
you figure out is that you can make something that works in one scenario, but if you throw it outside of it, it needs to work in something else. So that's why it's like, yes, theoretically you could make stuff where it would be like streets would, your sidewalk would be cleared and whatever, but then it's just, but it also breaks when you drive over it.
It's a one-use driveway. Yeah. I guess I shouldn't talk. I have 0 driveways. You have 2. So I don't know. I have no strong opinions on this. It just seems like there should be some solution that's just like 10% better than raw manual labor. Just like you could get some kind of special driveway that drains, or I don't know.
That drains?
Somehow.
Well, it's if it's slanted, it already drains. Like that's not the problem.
I know, but like so it doesn't collect as well, or is hydrophobic, is that the term? Where like water just doesn't
Hydro?
yeah.
Well, rain's not the problem. Ice is.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, but just like it doesn't like connect, like it doesn't freeze to it as much. Like you ever have like really compacted ice and you have to like, it's a pain to scrape off. So like wouldn't it be great if it was like it didn't like bond? So you just get under and it just cracks up.
That would, if you had that, you wouldn't be able to fucking drive on that, because if it means the ice isn't bonding to, or I'm pretty sure it's mostly friction. That's your problem there.
So hear me out.
So that
stainless steel driveway, and then
good luck driving up that.
A magnet underneath my driveway.
What does the magnet do?
You park and the magnet goes like, you go like, and it pulls you up the driveway.
So,
why not just have like, you could just have like a mechanical drive. I just want that now. That sounds awesome.
Okay.
That's the solution. Magnets underneath your driveway.
Magnets, how do they work?
I don't know how they work in this context, but they would pull me up. I'm sure that has, I'm sure like the strength of a magnet to pull a car up would also like rip off your muffler and anything underneath, as well as just wreaking havoc on the inside of your car.
And probably short your electric system.
Why can't I just get like an MRI under my driveway? That's got to be like $20, right?
No. You mean per use? Maybe.
No, just to install.
No, like every time you go up and down your driveway, it's $20.
Why are there no sports that involve magnetism? That seems like that would be awesome.
What do you mean?
Like if you had, I feel like this is cool. Like what? Like why can't I go like? What if I made a pinball table with magnetic pinball, and some of the hazards were magnetic, like underneath the table, so the ball doesn't roll straight? Wouldn't that be cool? So you like it comes down, it's like boom. You can get like a gravitational effect.
They do that already with inclines.
I know, but it'd be counterintuitive. It's like another dimension to that.
It would actually be the opposite of adding another dimension, because when you have curves, it's literally 3 dimensions. When we're talking about just an incline with magnets, it's only 2 dimensions.
See, well, hear me out. Pinball table. It is perfectly rectangular. There are no hazards on the board, but there's magnets underneath it that form invisible walls.
But what about the paddles? What about the paddles? The ping pong paddles?
Those are just plastic. And so you'd have a ball that itself's a magnet, and you have the magnets underneath the oscillate. They go like north, south, north, south, north, south. So the ball just is all kind of chaotic, and you got to like steer it through these areas of control.
But it's just like a blank sheet of metal because you can't see it.
Yes. That sounds fun. Or even like you could control the magnetism to some extent. And it's like, have you ever seen like, it's a really old game called like Shoot the Moon. You know what I'm talking about?
I probably would.
It's like an analog thing where you have like 2 metal bars attached to one point, and you have like a marble in the center, and you pull the bars apart to make it roll up an incline. And it's like gauging the system. You would know it if I talk about it.
I think so.
But it'd be like that, where you're trying to like work it without turning on too much power. That sounds like that'd be a fun arcade game.
Maybe, but wouldn't it be pinball?
It'd basically be pinball. What are the pins in pinball? Wouldn't bowling be pinball?
No.
Why? I'm hitting pins with a ball.
I think the ball.
Like, are the pins the bumpers? Like, where does that come from? Pinball. Is it like that ball from something that is a pin? Like, is it a ballpoint pen ball? And that's where it comes from? Who invented pinball?
I don't know.
Did pinball exist before electricity?
No. I don't think so. How would it?
It would just be like what's the difference between pinball, really, and those little, like, 99-cent water games where you try to get, like, the loops on the pins? It's basically the same game. Where you're just trying to, like, you have something that doesn't allow you full control, and you're trying to take this medium that you have poor control over and do something acrobatic with an object. So instead of, I'm taking my bumpers, and I'm trying to get a ball to hit a pin. Or I'm trying to take my one bumper and get my loop on the ring. It's the same kind of game.
No.
I disagree heavily.
What? Okay, but you said pinball, right?
Yes.
That's, if you're doing a ring, it's not pinball.
I'm saying it's the same kind of game, and that doesn't require electricity. Although it would be way more interesting if it did have electricity.
Would it? I don't know.
It just shocks you every time you fail, and because some water gets out, and like.
Okay. Here's the thing. When pinball, when like the whole thing's like the ball hits a target, right, and you get a certain amount of points for that.
Yes.
And you have other mechanisms that shoot the ball around. What are shooting the ball around? That's not, if it's not electricity based. Also, what's keeping the score?
You don't need to shoot the ball around. The goal would just be to get the ball to a spot. You could do it with like springs. Like, so say you have to hit these 10 things and then get it in the hole at the top. And then you win.
So it would be a single player game.
Is pinball not a single player game? Do you play 2-person pinball?
Well, I guess a lot of the games you don't, pre-electricity, one could argue you don't play by yourself.
I see what you're saying. Like, you're competing for a higher score versus someone?
Yes.
Yes. Well, you could do it faster.
But how would you...
Speed run.
How do you time that?
Hourglass. You could have a mechanical watch. That existed.
Okay, but like, just like... A lot of games we're going to argue, like, would be just like kids don't have watches, right, playing these games.
Well, it's a kid. They're too dumb to beat the game anyways. They just care about beating it the first time.
I do not think pinball existed before electricity.
You could make a mechanical timer. If I can build a pinball game, I could
ignoring the
build
timer part. I don't think there would be any pinball game without electricity, like any variation of it. I don't think there is.
I bet you can make one.
Sure. Okay, maybe theoretically now that you have the concept, yes, you could make one. But I'm saying I don't think there has existed one prior to electricity. So if you make one now, sure, it might not run on electricity, but it's prior, or electricity has priorly been introduced, and pinball has been a thing since then.
All right. Change my mind on this then.
Okay.
Bowling is just big pinball with one ball.
Well, usually it's one ball in pinball anyway,
I know.
unless you get multi-ball. The other thing is,
Well, you get like multiple lives. I guess you get 2 in bowling.
no, you get
At a certain level, it's the same.
in bowling you get up to
You get 2 per frame.
Up to 23 balls.
So pinball's harder than bowling, is what you're saying. It's more of an
No, not
extreme
23.
sport.
You get up to 21.
I don't ever get that.
I've gotten I have done 21 before. But that's actually less than doing 13 or 12. Because if you get a strike, that's 1 ball per frame. You can get
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But if you get spare or otherwise, you can get way lower. But you can do that because also in the last frame you can have up to 3 balls. If you get a strike on the first one, you get it resets and you're essentially adding another frame. But if you get 2 strikes in a row, that means you can throw it resets the frame once more, and then you that's the last ball. So you can get a turkey in the last frame.
Yes. I actually went bowling recently.
I haven't bowled in a while.
I didn't know this, but there's one like right behind Valentino's over there.
Maplewood Lanes.
Yeah, and that was
Actually,
pretty
that's
close. I should go soon.
my homeschool learning center had like a bowling league there.
I thought you were for a second going to say I was homeschooled at the bowling alley. Like,
No,
are you sure you went to something official and you didn't just like met a dude at a bowling alley?
no,
Like,
it was
teach him algebra.
it was definitely a thing. We would go every first Friday of the month, I think.
I feel like what I learned is bowling is closer related to pinball than other sports.
Bowling is probably closer to pinball than a lot of other sports. Yes.
It's got a lot of same ideas. It's got bumpers. It's got pins.
The bumpers.
You roll a ball.
Well,
on a
it's
wood
only got
plane.
bumpers if you're a child.
Yeah.
And you suck.
But it has them. You only hit the bumpers.
Also,
if you
you're not
suck at pinball.
You're also actually no. You cannot play it without the bumpers.
Well, it depends on what the goal is of the pinball game. Sometimes you might get points for the bumpers, but that's not always the goal.
No, otherwise the ball goes either. Okay, so if you don't use the bumpers, the ball is just going to get launched
Sorry,
up.
I'm thinking of the bumpers like up at the top of the table. You know in Smash Brothers that like white ring with like the Smash logo on it that hits you away?
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm thinking of bumpers. That's a really specific thing. The things at the top of the board. It's
Oh,
like
okay.
200
I'm
points, and
just
it's
thinking of
ching,
the
ching,
paddles, I guess.
Yeah, not paddles.
Also, but in pinball, you're supposed to hit the bumpers.
It's an option, but it's on the board. Depends on the board.
What?
Dude, this is gonna be. Do you know what pinball game do you know the best? Do you have a pinball game you know very well?
Haven't in a long time. The one I would think is probably the one that was on like all
Windows XP.
Yeah.
That's the one I was gonna say, and that one had goals.
and 2000.
Yeah, I remember I read the documentation about how to actually play that game and get good scores because they had like this is how the game works, and that one didn't have it.
Didn't have what?
Well, you had bumpers, but the goal wasn't to hit the bumpers. Like you could, but it's like it had a whole system where you would collect missions and then
Yes.
yeah. It's like so you need to do 3x 3 times. So you could hit the bumpers, and those would give you points. But the point was to get missions and like streaks of missions without losing your ball.
Well, right.
So you could hit them, but here's 100 points. But complete a mission, that's 1,000.
Well, right.
So really, the objective wasn't to hit the bumpers.
The bumpers give you points, but that's not the end all be all. It's like I'm not aiming specifically for the bumper, but you get points for hitting the bumper.
Yes,
so.
but it's technically a failure, and also the bumper.
What do you mean it's a failure?
Because you're probably aiming for something in particular. Like, I don't want to hit the bumpers. I want to hit this target.
Okay.
So if I hit the bumper, I failed.
You
And then
didn't
the
fail,
bumper's
'cause
going to be like...
redo it again. But you can go for it again.
You can, unless the bumper hits it somewhere you don't want. Whereas, like, there's a lot of times in that game where you're aiming at something straight up in the middle of the table.
Yeah.
So if you keep it going up and down, you can usually, like, hit... You're fine. But the bumper sends it to the sides. You have no idea. That ball's out of control. It could go down to... There's a spot to the left, I remember in this game, where it's
and right.
The fail. Yeah. The instant fail one, basically. That's the bumpers might sit into that. And that's why I say, like, sure, you might get points, but that's like playing with fire if you go for those bumpers. But I'm sure there's other ones where, like, are designed around, like, here's 6 bumpers, and you just get it in that, like, the nest of bumpers, and it's like...
Yeah.
And that's the goal. So... I did not know we were going to be talking about pinball when I started this podcast.
I neither.
We found our way. At least now I'm sure I can get a thumbnail out of that. Of, like, the bumpers.
The bumpers? Like...
Yeah, I don't know. I'll think of something. I got time. I got till Monday.
Could also do bowling.
I could do bowling. I feel like, did we already do a bowling one? No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
You did pine tree.
Pine tree.
Or not pine tree.
Coconut?
Coconut tree.
Yes. I don't think there's coconut trees. I think coconuts... No, I think pineapples grow on the ground.
Palm trees are what give you coconuts. So it's a coconut tree, but it's not.
Yes.
It's a dumb way to say it.
Yes. What else is up with you? Playing anything interesting?
Playing Final Fantasy 9.
That surprised me. You just texted me like, oh my God, this thing in Final Fantasy 9 is annoying me. It's like I don't disapprove, but I'm surprised you just randomly texted me that you're playing Final Fantasy 9.
I think it came up because I was looking. I saw that Black Desert was on console now. And then there's also like people who play this game also like this. And I saw Final Fantasy 9. I'm like,
that also blew my mind that you're playing it on your like Xbox One. I'm just like, I think I played Final Fantasy last time on my phone. And you're like, I play it on my console. I'm just like, that's a thing? Like, I guess it's how it came out.
Final Fantasy 7's also there. 8 is coming.
I don't think I could play it on a console after playing it on other stuff. It's so much more convenient to play it on an emulator for me.
The save states are probably what would make it worthwhile, but I actually prefer it more just because the emulator sometimes it's weird like communicating like what buttons actually like sure like I figure out this needs to accept whatever, but I don't know like what button that is. So when it comes out prompt hit this button, it's like
But you can get a controller.
It's true. Last time I played though was
you didn't have one.
I didn't have one. So
but that's just a big thing where it's like what thing I liked about it was I could just like pop it open and be like I'm playing it now. Whereas I remember like there was actually I think it was in Final Fantasy VII that a lot of people played as a kid. We talk about how we're like I think it's like a point in like Midgar where like the save points are just an hour apart, and they talk about like it's just out there. It was like a hard part of the game, and the save points are ways away, so they would just keep like play for 45 minutes, have to leave, play for 30 minutes, and have to leave. And I love the save states. You avoid that entirely. You're just like save. Plus, you can cheat if you really want to.
like with the card games and shit.
Yeah. You got to play 8 because 8's card game is very good. Although it is,
I've played probably over half of 8. I just stopped. I'll probably get it on console.
8's pretty fun.
Play it then.
Like I would totally just play it.
Also achievements when you play on console, so there's that too.
Yeah.
But no, the card game. Like I understand the game.
I never did.
I actually do understand the game, but the RNG is annoying because like finding cards with like the proper corners and shit, and also just like even if you good cards can fail.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, it's just these numbers mean that it has this range of possibilities, and then there's another thing between the fighting. So it's like, okay, so first off, you have one stat that it's between these two numbers, and then when you do it, there's another thing that reduces it, and that's what it's like. It's annoying.
Yeah. 8 also has the problem though, where like whoever wins the game gets to take a card.
Oh, same thing in 9.
Yeah,
and if you
annoying.
and if you get 10, or if you get all the cards, you get all of all 5. So if you win all 10, you get their 5.
So that's annoying. I don't know if it's like you, but you always play with your best cards.
Yes.
You know, so it's like annoying because if they lose, it's like you'll take their 2 out of 10 card instead of their 1 out of 10 cards.
Yeah.
But if you lose, it's like here's this god card they get to take. It's like reset. Also,
That's
one thing
been happening.
Yeah, I know. What really sucks is, or at least I thought was stupid. A couple things. One thing about 8 that's nice is you can also turn your cards into items, and that gives the game so much more value.
Can you do that in 9?
I don't know.
Because
It's late.
Okay, I have. First off, I think it's really annoying that you have 100 card cutoff. Like you
Like a
have,
limit?
Limit. You have 100 card limit. So I'm constantly just having like oh you're at 100 cards, or you need to delete one. Like fuck.
God.
So if I'm collecting, if you can turn them in, that's really annoying because I don't actually know what the exchange rate or what the exchange was like in 8.
It depended on the card, but it was usually pretty good because it was an alternate way to farm really custom items.
Well, I meant like what you turn an X in for that.
No, it doesn't work like that. You turn one card into a set number of items. It was like a magical ability. So it's like
one card.
Yeah.
You convert one card into X.
Yes.
Okay, I was thinking like, oh, you need like 3 cards convert to Y.
But it was nice because like you could go farm a rare monster, or you could just go like play a dude who had a card that you can convert. Although, and then especially like the late cards, like if you had like the Squall card, I think it was the Cipher, the other Gunblade wielder in 8, you could convert his card to like 100 mega elixirs or something. So if you got one of those and you're willing to get rid of it, it was just like, here you go, man. But on that note, you could get cards for characters, and I don't know if you can do that in 9.
I don't.
But it was like the high level cards. They have cards kind of like that. I don't think you have like a Zidane card.
I don't think so either.
Okay, but I always love.
Wasn't there like multiple pages of cards? Like were there multiple pages? It's like in your thing when you're selecting cards, aren't there like different pages?
I think so.
There's only one in 9.
Yes. Well, because in 9 they have to track stuff per card because each card is like has its own state because each card can individually level up, whereas all the cards in 8 are static, so you can have a bunch.
Also, so like if one card had arrows in a certain spot, any duplicate has his arrows in the same exact spot
And the same stats.
and same stats. Oh, that's different
Yeah.
in 9. The arrows can be every which way,
And they can
different
change.
number.
You know, they can't
the stats can change. I don't think the arrows change.
Yes. But my point is you can level up a card versus just saying like a card has a value of 7, and then based off that seed, it generates what it is.
By the way,
It has to like flop.
the jump rope is really annoying.
Yeah.
Fuck the jump rope.
I bet there's an achievement for that.
Oh, there is. And there's like one, I've done it up to 100. And that's a challenge. But like you get good, like you got a card at, like I think you got Cactuar at 50 and 100 you get Genji. And I know there are other ones at like 200 and 300. Fuck that noise. But there's an achievement for doing it to 1,000. And I'm like, fuck.
Final Fantasy X had an achievement like that. I've never played it, but I heard there's another one that's like super annoying. That's just like do everything for like an hour and perfectly. Just but
well, see what bugs me is just like when you're doing it, like it increases in tempo. So you're like
save state, and so easy. That game is famously hard. Did you get 100 nobles?
yes,
Yeah.
I have done that.
Did you impress Queen Braun though?
Yes,
Okay.
there's an achievement for doing that.
Okay.
I did
That makes
that.
sense. But no, one thing I liked about the fact that you had character cards in 8 was it just totally looked like you're cheating. Because you would roll up like, hey, I want to play cards. I'm Squall. I play the Squall card. It's got these amazing stats.
Yeah,
And you're not going to fight me because I'm a ripped dude with a gun sword and you're an 8-year-old kid. And then I just take all your cards. And like, I get that this is a game in a game, you know, whatever. It just looks like I made this up.
Yeah.
Like this is the Grant card. It's got all 10 stats and it always wins. That's basically what I'm doing in 8. So I just always love that vision. This is a very specific conversation to talk about card games in Final Fantasies, of which I think there's only 2. 8 and 9. I'm sure there's something in 12 or something that I don't know about.
Or 14.
Do you know what I actually learned today? Is that in Final Fantasy 15, that game they always talk about, King's Quest or whatever. Not King's Quest. King's Knight or whatever was a real game. I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Yeah, I guess it's a really old game they rebooted, but then the reboot completely failed. And then they intended to have crossover with Final Fantasy 15, but they didn't because that game failed or something like that. And I was just like scrolling through it and like, I thought this was just a generic, because it sounds like a super generic game. It's like King's Knight Quest.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I really want to replay Final Fantasy 15, by the way. I just want to sit down and play it and just get done. They have new DLC coming out.
Okay, so what DLCs are there? There's GLaDOS, Ignis, Prompto.
I think that's all that's out and companions. But then they have a final one for Arden coming out.
Okay, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, but then they're like, that's it. That was all we were going to do again. So sad. There was definitely a point on their timeline, if they could get to it, that was a different ending they were going to release. A good ending. But they didn't. They lost funding before then. Or they got shut down or whatever.
That's sad.
Yeah.
But even though it was like a sad ending, it was still a good one, in my opinion.
My issue with like the ending in 15, though, is I don't think of it as... I feel like it feels like the same kind of ending as Ocarina of Time, where it feels as if I beat him in the future and then somehow you go back to the world before it's all messed up. It's not. But it feels like that because you only see the future in a very specific window of the game, and then you don't see anything after, except maybe like a cutscene. So I feel like I want to see what happens next, or to see the world after that, but you don't.
Yeah.
So I only think of before the time jump. So again, it's super specific, but I want to go play Final Fantasy 10. That's on my radar. I want to go play that as well.
10?
10. I feel like I should play 10. And now I don't know. Is that on console? I have a PS3. I can actually get that. Oh, also I'm playing Red Dead 1 with JV. It's okay so far. I've lasted a horse.
You've lasted a horse. Good job.
So this annoys me. I want to play Red Dead because I hear good things about it, but I really don't like open world games. Like if I'm going to play a game, like I sometimes like them, but at the moment I just don't want them. Like I want a game that's going to be a game, not, oh damn it, I fell off the mountain. Do I want to go all the way around to get up the mountain, or do I just do like the dumb little hop where maybe you'll get high enough? I don't want to do that anymore. I just want to be like, just put me at the next spot, you know? Or I don't want to ride my horse for 10 minutes just to get to the next thing. I just want to play the game. And that's why I was playing Dragon Age Inquisition, and that's got that too. I'm just like, every time I slide down a mountain, it's just like, oh.
Do you take fall damage?
You do? But it's actually one thing I like about the game. You have like a shield spell you can cast. So I just like shield and then face plant off a cliff.
Wait, what? Does it just negate damage?
Well, it absorbs X amount of damage.
Oh, okay.
It's based off the Mass Effect engine, right? So it just gives yourself a shield for that's like a buffer. So yeah, I just all the time like gonna go down there, shield. It's fun. It's like how in Skyrim you could do that with like the horse, where you're like, I stole this horse. I don't care. It'll absorb the first 100 points of fall damage. So you just like fall, your horse dies, and you just land with 0 damage. I always enjoyed that, and that's one thing I do like about it. So, but getting up hills, no fun. No fun.
No fun?
Yes. Yeah. What are we gonna do after this podcast, Andrew?
We're going to cook a roast.
Yes.
And then I think we're watching Team 4-Star.
Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
Yes.
So excited from the beginning.
Yes.
It's gonna be fun. I was so excited when they started producing it again, because I feel like I'm going through this big, not renaissance, but nostalgic kick. Like I'm back and I'm playing a bunch of like
Nostalgia fever.
Yeah, I'm playing a bunch of like Halo 3, which is amazing to go back to. It was everything I wanted. It was, oh my god, it was awesome. When I went and played Halo 3, I can just talk about that all day. We're just like, because it was also with all these people who were like super newbie, and they didn't know anything, but I didn't know anything. Like I was on like Last Resort, and I'm like, there's a hole in the wall. I forgot there was a hole in the wall here, and I ran out with the flag there, and like that was awesome. Or just like someone sniped me out of a mongoose, and I'm like, oh, that was cool. But it was just like all these simple interactions.
I got shot.
But no, like literally, I was like a freaking kid, where it's like every dumb little interaction, I was like, this is the best. Like double beatdown. It's like, oh yeah, that's a thing. I love that. That's a thing. It's just fun.
Except for every other game where it happens in too.
I remember hating it at the time.
Right.
But it's like going back, it's got a charm to it where you just both punch each other in the face and die.
But in Halo 5 and stuff like that happens all the time too. So.
I know, but that's why I started playing Halo 5 again. Because like, I want to go get into a more recent Halo.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I've been on this huge kick, and then like that came back. It's like, man, I haven't watched this for such a long time. Just kind of like stopped, and then I forgot about it. And then it's like, oh, I forgot I subscribed to them. They have a new episode. I'm gonna watch this, and I'm just like, this is awesome. I think a year ago I rewatched it, and I got to the whole like Namek saga, and I'm like, this is 100% just as good as I remembered it. Like that guru character, I'm like, I thought I was just being a dumb kid, and like, no, that is just a good segment. So, recommend
the majestic space duck.
Yeah, or even just like they're doing. Let's go back to Final Fantasy. They're doing their abridged.
To be honest, that I might like that just a little more.
I think they can do so much more with that.
Yeah.
In terms of like mocking stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something where like anytime I think of Kingdom Hearts now, I think of the joke they make where like Barrett's like just in the background.
You're talking about Bahamut this, Bahamut that.
All these summons, and it goes into just Kingdom Hearts games, and it's like it's the perfect epitome of like Kingdom Hearts doesn't need to be dumb and crazy and stupid. Like it's a fun game. It's got its quirks. But their naming convention is the perfect epitome of we didn't have to be complicated, but we are going to be. And it's like Bahamut, was it Bahamut 1, Bahamut 2, Bahamut Final Cut, Bahamut 352 over 2 days, Bahamut Dream Drop Distance, and it's just like I love that.
Well, I mean, it's funny because he starts out saying legitimately, because there are a lot of Bahamuts, so like he starts out saying the real ones, so he slowly like transfers into like ridiculous like Hearts names for no reason.
I think honestly, Team 4 Star is like great. And it's almost to the point where, like, if someone wanted to watch Dragon Ball, I would almost recommend abridged because it's truly abridged, and they're so good at keeping the tone of the show with keeping the humor in it, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, especially now with this whole Vic Mignogna stuff, I will not watch regular Dragon Ball.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I would watch it anyway. I think I'm vaguely interested in it, but I don't think I would ever sit down and watch.
On principle, I will not watch it though.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole nother thing I could.
What did he play in that?
Broly.
Oh yeah, that's right. We talked about that. Where you sent me that text, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the last one. I'm so off on my schedules because of the cooking show. It just threw a wrench in my plans.
But yeah, shit's been going down there,
mm-hmm.
and I revel in the possibilities of what could be happening. Like the Schadenfreude is real. My body is ready.
Okay. We'll cut to podcast 45 when you're like, can you believe that thing happened? I don't know.
Oh, God.
But I think we're good at time. I'll
Yeah.
need to edit this. Yep, we're at 1 hour 15 something. I can never see the cameras. I need just to like on my TV, I should just put like a timer so I can see it. Because all the time, like, I hope I need to wait for you to talk so I can be like, what time is it? Off camera, and I know I'll just cut from that section. So, but we can go ahead and we can go watch some Dragon Ball Z Unbridged, Space Duck, all that stuff. So,
Spaces.
space what?
It was like Space Australia. It's like Australia, one space.
See,
Go Space Broncos.
Even that, like, that's such a dumb joke, but for some reason, it's just like I feel like I've never heard that style of joke executed so well.
Yeah.
But it's not anything revolutionary. It's just a really well executed joke.
Yeah.
So, recommend it. I will say my only main gripe about Team 4 Star is that there's no good entry point other than episode 1.
Yeah.
And episode 1 is dated.
Yes.
So, and that's why I think Machine Bridge, the Final Fantasy 7 one's easier because you can just hop right into that. It's exactly what you'd expect.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like 1 was just more of like a fan parody, really. Whereas like at this point, Abridged is its own thing. It's got its own continuity and timelines. And so anyway, we'll go watch that. So anyway, I'm Grant. This is Digression Bar 35. I've been joined by
Andrew,
you second guessed me. You had to check the number on the clapper.
well, I was actually making sure you were saying the right one.
Yeah, you double checked me. You're gonna be like, oh, actually, it's 37.
You're fucked.
I do check before. I'm like, let me just pull up the playlist to make sure I'm not saying it again.
Mm-hmm.
That I should also put that on the TV, like 35, 1 hour, and just start. That way I can reference it because as soon as the camera's on, I immediately forget. But anyway, we're going over. I need to edit this. So thanks for watching.
Bye.
We'll be back again in 2 weeks.
Maybe.
Ish. Bye.